We are live. Hello, everybody. It's Sunday night coming to you from both of us in New York. We have Itzhak Beery. Hi. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you very well. Yeah,
Perfect.
great to see you.
Great to see you again. So we're here just giving an introduction because you joined in my interview series, which is launching tomorrow. It's called The True Path Entrepreneur. And everybody can just click the link in this Facebook Live and sign up and hear more of your interview and interviews for amazing people to talk about this path to entrepreneurship and following your heart and making money, doing something aligned with your true purpose. So I was just chatting with you about this class that you recently taught about shamanic visioning for business. Now, I would love to hear a little more because I know a lot of our listeners are fans of yours or are on the shamanic path. Can you tell us, what is this all about and how can you combine shamanic visioning to help your business?
Well, many people think that that shamanism or spirituality has to contrast with business. That business is a bad word, and I was there too. Before I went the first time to the Amazon to do ayahuasca, that was 20 years ago. I had an incredible guilt feeling about doing advertising, and I did advertising for Gucci and El Al and Revlon and all kind of big companies that pollute the air and the earth. And I really felt guilty about it. But actually, for me, it was the teaching from the ayahuasca that told me that the shamans are actually are very similar to advertising or to any kind of business people, because really what business is doing is fulfilling other people's dreams and making sure that they are fulfilled in their needs. And it's really, the question is where you're coming from. If you are doing it to manipulate people, or if you are doing it to help people to achieve their full potential, or if you are using their weaknesses and needs to manipulate them, then of course it's wrong. But that's a question of that you can ask yourself in spiritual teachers or in any other business. So it's not against business to do any shamanic work or teachings. And on the contrary, I think that there is a great tools that shamanism have to offer, or the ancient wisdom people have to offer to modern people to maximize their potential and find their own passage of life, and to when you feel complete, when you feel that you are doing what you came here to do, you are much more effective, you are much more calm. You don't have to trick people to do things that they don't need to be doing. On the contrary, you want to find people who can cooperate with you, that can complete the quality that you don't have, or you can be completed by them. So it's a more of a way to people to understand what their life purpose or their life goal, who they are as an individual, and the style of their business, and then to offer it to have a more cooperation with people like that. And that's really what we did in the class at the assemblage, to find way who you are, who is your power animal, or who's your teacher, what kind of medicine it gives you, and how can you cooperate with people that have complementary qualities, and creating work in teams instead of asking or demanding people to behave in a way that they are not really do not they're not born to do. So understanding them and knowing their quality can really help a lot of people to get more prosperous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that you say that, because do you hear that echo? I hope this isn't echoing for everybody. No, because this is a common thing with entrepreneurs in the startup world, where they really talk about doing what you love and putting people into roles that they're actually more excited about and passionate about, versus what's your resume? What's your background? What did you study? Here, go do this. And, too bad if you don't like it, which is kind of the old way of doing business.
Well, I actually think that, when I hired people in my advertising agency, I looked at their resume, of course, but I really, at the end, I chose the person who have passion, that demonstrate that they have a creativity that is outside the box. And the shamanic work or shamanic visioning work is really about teaching people to think outside of the box, to really be more creative, to drop on everything they know and allow spirit or the unknown or that bank of information that you have up there somewhere to teach you tricks or ideas that you would never otherwise will be able to achieve, because you are limited in the way we think. Like what Einstein was saying, right? That you can't resolve issues or problems with the same mind that created them. It's the same thing. So ayahuasca and plant medicine and shamanic visioning and all of that give you an opportunity to go beyond what you know. And it is so topical now because our world is changing by the minute. It's no longer that you can actually go and open a book and read about today business and still think that it's current, because our technology changes so quickly that it's changed the landscape of business and consumer habits. So you really want to know who are your users and what are they thinking and how they deal with the changes that are happening. And in many ways, entrepreneurs are a little like a step ahead from consumers, but not very much. I mean, we are all in this big adventures that is very much unknown to all of us. We are really making it up, and so you can't resolve problems consumer or users in the same that was of last year. It's just not going to happen. You have to invent. You have to bring people, and in many ways, I believe that entrepreneurs and business owners and business people are the shamans of today, because they are the visionaries. Those are the people who are able to see beyond what's the reality of now. They are able to build community around them. And you look at Facebook and all their Twitters and all that, they created a huge community. And they are able to, if they are good people with good intention, and I'm not talking about Facebook and Twitter that sold their soul to many other things and to include the Russians, but I'm talking about other corporations that they can build communities, they can serve communities, and they are able to take care of their well-being, spiritual and emotional well-being, including helping people to achieve their dreams.
Yeah, I love that you talk about community, because I think it's the number one most important thing in business is people and the connections we have with each other and the collaboration. And what I refer to is the newer way of doing business, which is collaborative, right? It's very different than the old paradigm of competitive corporate, man eat man, dog eat dog world. And now, to me, everybody around that's succeeding is really collaborating, whether it's brands or startups that are partnering, doing business deals together, or even like this, what we're doing, right? Helping each other out, talking about the same thing, even though you and I practice completely different modalities. We essentially teach the same thing, right? In some way. Although I haven't really gotten into the spirit animal helping you in your business. Now, I'm actually curious about that. Is there an exercise people can do? I mean, of course, I have certain spirit animals, but I've actually never pinpointed one in particular for my business.
Well,
Maybe I
do. In the shamanic tradition, shamans don't really use their own intelligence and resources to resolve issues and problems. They're using other intermediaries like spirit in the upper world, middle world, or lower world. And so in this lower world, we have the spirits of the anima, which is the life forces of the person. And so it is to me personally, I think that is incredibly important to find out what's your power animal, because your power animal really shows your life force, or it gives you the medicine that you need to operate in your business. So if you, for instance, if you have a power animal that is a lion, Leo, Leo is not a very great team worker. He's a great CEO. He's a great observer from above, but he's not really getting he's not getting into the small little details. He's not raising the kids. He's not going hunting, but he's providing protection. So I could put him on the top. But if I want somebody to build me a team, right, I would ask to find somebody who is a wolf or a dog, because they are very loyal. They are keeping company forever for life. They are very smart, and they have incredible great senses, and they work with teams.
Great.
Wolf always hunt as a team. They have a coordination. If you ever saw a pack of wolves, they always work together. So I would put somebody like this is in charge of HR or the inner working of the corporation. These are now. Let's say that you have somebody, you have something that you really need to work really, really fast, and that person have a turtle as a power animal. So you know what I mean.
I had the turtle come into my life like about 2 years ago, like big time.
Maybe that was time that you were a little more afraid. You needed more protection. You needed to think about walking slower, not to be too fast like you are now. Probably you are now like a cheetah, right? So, what I'm saying is that each of those power animals, sometimes they stay with you forever. And sometimes you have more than one that is according to the time and your life challenges at this particular time. So they are changing, and you can use them. And I know that I use them a lot in my business and in advertising. And I always tell that story that I had a client that we were trying to bid on their account, on advertising account, and we were keep on giving presentation, and we didn't understand what's wrong. Why doesn't he say you're either fired or hired? And he couldn't tell me either. So we were sitting in a conference, and I said, listen, I need to find out what's going on. And he says, I can't tell you. You need to show it to me so I can see. And so he said, can I go to the bathroom? I said, sure, go to the bathroom. And so when he went to the bathroom, I turned the chair with my back to the other people, and I closed my eyes. I called my power animal. I asked, tell me what the hell this guy wants. And so I got three things that the guy, that my spirit teacher told me that he wants. So when he walks into the conference room, I said to him, listen, I know what you want, and I'm willing to give it to you. And he says, how do you know what I want? And I said, well, you want the 1, 2, and 3. And he says, yes. And I says, so why don't you say it? He says, well, I didn't know how to say that. So my question, my spirit guide went into his spirit world and retrieved information that otherwise he was not able to verbalize it, and I was not able to find on my own. And it saves us so much time and so much energy, and you were able to please your clients much more.
Wow. How long would it take someone to learn how to do this in their own life? Like someone, let's say someone watching who's like, what the hell, I've never even heard of my spirit teachers before. Like, how long does it take someone to get in touch with their spirit guides and spirit teachers and then start to access them and actually have conversations and be able to say things like what you just explained?
Well, it depends. Sometimes you can learn over a weekend, or you can learn over an hour. But I think that it's the more important is that when you use it, how you use it, and how you get comfortable with using speaking to spirit. And I think that it is utterly important for people to learn how to speak to the unknown, to the spiritual mystery world, because we as human species, we are very limited. We are very limited in our abilities. Our eyesight is limited compared to the fly or to a bee. Our smelling is definitely worse than a dog or a wolf, and our touch is also. And so we are very limited in a way that we are interacting the world. We need this. We needed the help of spirit, and here we're talking about business and how to achieve a better success in your business. And so you can't go to business knowing the same thing that you knew before. You have to find another source that can help you to expand your mind, expand the possibilities, give you more options, right? I think that that's what the beauty of the ancient tradition of shamanic work, that allow you to travel to other realities or places where you have incredible knowledge, and bring it back here to be used in our reality.
Wow, this is so incredible. I know, hopefully some people are watching and actually, this is lighting them up like it is for me, because I've actually never thought of calling in these spirits into, something as day to day as my business. I mean, of course, I work with my guides in certain ways and, going into meditation and, doing whatever it is that I'm doing in particular, but not in the day-to-day practice of trying to solve a business problem and come up with a creative new idea and grow. And I really like what you said about, we're limited. Companies get stagnant if they don't start to innovate. And this is exactly what you said. This is it. It's tapping into that source of this innovation. I love, this is what you said about entrepreneurs being the shamans of today, right? I love that. I've never heard anybody say that, but I like that perspective.
Well, you heard it first here.
I know, right? You should you should trademark that.
Well, I got that line, or that notion that from spirit, from working with ayahuasca. So it's everything is already written, everything is already there. It's just how do you get to it, So if you can use, and I wanted to say something about the shamanic practices. Shamanic practices are not spiritual. They are using spiritual tools and means to change the world, to be practical. So it's a very practical practice using spiritual tools. And that I think that is very important to say, because it's not a woo-woo. It's not like what a crazy stuff. It's actually help people to get to a source of ideas that otherwise they were not able to do.
I'm actually very glad you addressed this, because, with me and what I do, right? I call myself a business coach, but of course I have this deep spiritual side. And this is one of the whole reasons I'm talking to you, is because I have a lot of interest in the shamanic traditions. But, one of my clients, for example, is this CEO of a big, multi-million-dollar company. And he's not on this path, right? So, but I have to infuse it into my work because I do see it as so important, right? And I just use a very different language. But there are points where I question, like, is he just thinking I'm woo-woo? And I actually usually I usually defend myself a little and say, look, just prove it to yourself. Give it a try and prove it to yourself. And then you'll see it's not actually woo-woo. It's really like, this can actually help you grow and help you take your business to the level you want to get it to. And you know, this is with my solopreneur clients as well. It's the same thing. But I like that you say that it's not woo, because there is, especially in this business world, there's a lot of, you know, kind of trying to figure out like how do I get business out there, but then also, you know, not sound too woo woo, but not be all business, right? Because then that's not truly me. That's not my practice either. So
well, one of the things that you want to emphasize that like we are using different tools. This is a different tool that it happened to be an ancient traditional indigenous from another time, but it's very effective. So and I want to tell you that I had a not a CEO. I had a guy who was like in the top division of a corporation, um, maybe the 5 largest one, and he was in charge of HR of. Altogether, he was in charge of about 500,000 people working worldwide. And the woman who works for him gave him 2 gift certificates to work with me.
that's awesome.
And of course, this is the guy who everything that touched turned into gold. And when I worked with him, he realized that for him there is no losing, because and we really found out that he was an adopted child from very early age, and he felt that he can't fail, because if he fails, they will return him to his parent, to the orphanage. So for him, there was no succeeding had a huge prize, and so he was successful, but he was never really happy. And when you're not happy, you can't be in charge of 500,000 people and give them what they want. You can't open your heart. And through the sessions that we work with, he made a really incredible discovery of that, and he worked with his power animal to reconcile with that fear of that child that within himself. And when he came back to work, his outlook of life and the needs of his employees totally changed.
Wow.
And I think
That's
that's really
incredible.
it's important to remember that all these rough and business-like people, they also have heart, and they also have emotional needs and spirituality. And then down deep inside, there is a human hiding. And we need to speak to that part of themselves.
Wow. This is incredible. Can you, you know, just because I want to wrap it up a little quickly, what is it that you do? I mean, I know what you do, but I want the listeners to know, because you just mentioned he had 2 sessions with you. What is
Well, I do I do many things, but in the shamanic tradition, I teach around the world, and in New York, of course. And I wrote 3 books: The Gift of Shamanism, Shamanic Transformation, and Shamanic Healing, Traditional Medicine for the Modern World. And I also give personal healing sessions here and wherever I go. I have clients all around the world, so that I give sessions, and I meet a lot of people, and a lot of people who are very interested in that. Many of them are in the high-tech industries, because they really understand energy, they understand trend, they understand branding. And I do believe that when we work in shamanism, when we find our life purpose really defines our brand. And so each person has to have his own life purpose or brand, and the corporation, the company that they are creating, also have to have that. And sometimes it matches with them, or sometimes it has a different life. But they are it's way more powerful to come to it conscious to it than to just throw all the eggs that you have into the air and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. This is incredible work that you're doing. Wow. I mean, I thank you so much for being part of the True Path Entrepreneur.
Oh,
I'm just speechless because I didn't even realize you worked with all these high-tech entrepreneurs, but that makes sense. That's why you're. But yeah, thank you, Itzhak, so much for being with us today. And everybody, you can watch a longer interview with Itzhak on the TruePathEntrepreneur.com. And he's also giving away a couple free gifts. I think it was clearing negative energies, and I forgot what the other one was, but a couple, what are they? They're audio trainings, right?
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead and get it.
Yeah.
Register for this. And thank you so much, Beth, for doing it, because I think that it's so important, especially for young entrepreneur, people who are just finishing college now, and they are modeling with all of these new technologies and a new direction. And the truth is that nobody knows. Everybody thinks that they know. They really don't. Why not to go and get your inspiration from places that are wonderful, like the spirit world.
Yeah, I'm definitely, thank you so much for that. I'm going to give this a try because, again, this is something I've never thought of taking into, this world of business, right? I always separate it.
I have to tell you something. Today I had a session over the phone with one person from California. And he's a business person, and he is not sure about the way his company goes, and also if he wants to be part of that company. And so I led him into a vision on the phone without power animals, but through a process that we do in shamanism. And the messages that he received, the images that he received, were so powerful that there was for a person that was so stuck in not knowing what he's going to be doing in the rest of his life, all of a sudden it's so clear. It's so amazingly clear that he have to do A, B, C, and D, that he can go back to his partners now and say, listen, this is what I want. And this is what's going to happen. And powerfully, not meekly, not like weakly, just like really powerfully saying, this is what I want. This is my conviction. I want to be that. And it all came from these techniques.
Incredible.
Use it.
Yeah, no, I'm going to step it up a little bit. I mean, yeah, why not? It's so interesting. Well, this is why I invited you onto the series, because I knew you had so much wisdom and so much to talk about, and it's incredible. Thank you so much for being with us.
The more shamans we have, the better the world will be.
Yeah? Okay, I'm so glad you said that, because I've questioned that before. I don't know. I mean, because we all know there's a couple, there's a few like not so, aren't there dark shamans out there from what I hear?
There were 40-something good presidents, and a few of them were like really bad, including this one.
Exactly.
It doesn't say that we don't need presidents. It's just that we need a person who is not spoiled. But it's the same thing with shamans, and the same thing with doctors, and the same thing with business people.
True.
That's why it's so important to have business people working with spirits, so they can have the responsibility to the community for other people's dreams. Oh
yeah. I think you should brand some of these quotes. These are really great. These are really sound bites.
All right.
Maybe the title of your next book. You never know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm actually thinking about doing a book about visioning for business, because I think that it's so topical and important, and it will encourage people to be more creative and think outside of the box.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the world needs that. And thank God we're going in this direction, right?
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being with me. And everybody, be sure to watch Itzhak's interview on the TruePathEntrepreneur.com. Just sign up, and it's free. And there's another 33 interviews with awesome, amazing people just like him.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you so much. Have a great night and happy supermoon.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Have a good one. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.